This one came together through very clear decisions, so let's get into it. The most effortless decision I made when designing the space was removing the wall between the kitchen and the dining room. Having a larger kitchen was essential for me to make the flow of the first floor work, as well as the aesthetic, making it feel like a large kitchen. It's like a postage stamp in this big 5-bedroom house that it didn't make any sense to have such a small kitchen. So that was the most effortless decision from the moment I walked into the house till, finishing it. That had to happen. So can you believe that we are actually standing what used to be the dining room? There was a wall right here and we moved it. We have the island here. It's kind of like the bar sink with the glass rinser that's right next to the bar that's in the piano lounge. We have another island, and then back behind me we have the workhorse. So the stove, a lot of the storage down below, tile wall with the floating walnut shelves. Those will host on the bottom 2 shelves, plates, dishes, the things that you need to get to, maybe some really cool copper pots, things like that. And the top will just be accessorizing, more of a styling look to it. So we have the function, we have the form, we have aesthetic, all building together in a nice, harmonious way. It's got everything that you could possibly need, plus the space to get through. Plenty of people can walk through to get to the pool outside. Plenty of people can cook and not feel like you're walking so many steps to get to the different triangles of the fridge and the sink. So elongating this really did add square footage to the kitchen. It also added bar stools at the islands, which is great for the kids to do homework and just be in the space when it's meal times. Lots of storage on the countertop. So there's appliance garages, which makes it so much easier to just hide the mess in the morning. It's great for moms and dads with busy kids. That's just like, okay, open it all up, put it all away, and your kitchen always looks great. You can see that we've built this big arch. We've pushed the wall out to house this area behind me. And so it's adding an architectural detail to what was just a, typical dining room before. The copper hood is going to get skinned with an actual copper piece. It's going to add a lot of movement and texture to the area. This classic stove, the pot filler, I'm not a big fan of having all of the matching hardware to the sink faucet, to the light fixture. I don't want things to match. I want it to feel like it's in the same space without having the finish be the same over and over and over again every time I used it. Here we are sitting in the banquette. This is kind of where all of the magic happens at mealtime. The upholstery in this nook is really important. It needs to be basically a commercial fabric, and it needs to be indestructible, easily cleaned, but no hassle. Lighting to me in a kitchen is really important. It's the interesting element. It's the one that's kind of capturing your attention, if you will. The one we have here, love the shape. It's just perfect. Adds a little bit of a color, but a little bit of a moodiness from breakfast all the way through. The pendants over the island have that nice, almost like a see-through, interesting shape. Everything in here is very rigid and square, where those add a little bit of a playfulness in color and shape. So on the edge of the island countertop, besides the fact that the white outlet is not finished to match the walnut yet, is a chopping block and a chopping board for prep. So on each of the 2 islands, we have a place to prep and a place to assemble, other than just being a marble countertop. The color palette came through synesthesia, which is when you can see colors and auras through people and things and music. So when I first met the client, I knew exactly what colors that they were drawn to based on them. And that's really where it was born from, taking the client and basically projecting and amplifying them in their space. I am sitting in the piano lounge of my client's home, and their personality is really amplified in this space. One of the clients is very creative. She's an artist, she's a musician, and she wanted a space where people could listen to her play, she could entertain, and she could feel like she was a part of the rest of the home without being in a music room maybe off to the side. So music is a huge part of their life, and making it more central in between what would otherwise be the living and the kitchen makes it feel like it is completely integral to the lifestyle and how they are using their space. So this is the bar that I built in to push into the stairwell, keep it out of the kitchen and have it be more of a lounge bar along with the piano room. The stairwell has this sweeping shape to it, and I wanted to capitalize that and make it feel a little bit more like it's floating with the black wrought iron, and then ground it with this wallpaper just as like a funky play, just creative. What was so interesting was that this like drywall before was just so cumbersome, and so we just streamlined it, got rid of it, placed the bar in front. It's not a lot of space, but enough to make a drink and enjoy what the rest of the room has to offer. Where most people might think, oh, let's just put some hardware on there. Well, we like to be intentional and intuitive about it. So these are maroon ceramic knobs that pull from the maroon in the kitchen, and just want to make sure that we're repeating color as the thread throughout and making all of the spaces work seamlessly together. Carrying this upstairs would be completely kid specific, and the master bedroom would be completely client specific. Those areas are so personal and so intimate that each of them would highlight the people that live there and use the space. I did make selections that we can carry through: the walnut, the finish of the detail and the craftsmanship. All of that would be carried upstairs with the palette that's selected. There isn't just 2 or 3 colors in this house. There's probably like 5 or 6, which one isn't used in a way different than the others. It's obviously going to be the thread throughout that keeps it so it's feeling like the downstairs. I am in the downstairs bathroom, or the powder room, that's also shared with the guest room that's downstairs. So we needed it to feel a little bit public and a little bit private. So the pattern of the tile behind me, as you can see, is a little bit more playful. It's not typical, which again is kind of my thing. I don't want it to look like everything or everyone else's. And the caramel color was kind of pushing it a little bit into more of a moody feel. The interior doors were all swapped out downstairs with the hammered hardware. The powder room feel kind of takes over when you look at the vanity and the mirror. There's sconces and a chrome satin nickel mirror. There is a floating vanity, so the actual room feels a little bit larger. I use the different finishes of the metals, which is my favorite thing to do to add another interesting layer of design in the space. Instead of a shampoo niche, what I did is a shelf that's integrated into the wall. So there's a lot of architectural details, and the wallpaper adds an interesting element of texture, as well as it's almost like you want to touch it because it actually feels like it's coming out at you. It's this great abstract leaf in this kind of atmospheric where you don't really know what it is, but then you step back from it and go, the more you look at it, the more you see. I always want you to have a little bit of a playful interest in a space, making it interesting, adding a lot of texture, adding different colors, all blending really well together without typical colors that you see in mainstream design today. The entrepreneur in me says that the process should remain the same for every client, but knowing that the experiences that the family has had before with construction, they get it, they understand it, they know what's coming next. They didn't need a lot of hand-holding. So it was more high-level things. Fridays, I would give them little updates if there were any. I make my client management process to each client, and they definitely allowed me to do my thing. So they didn't need so much from me. And what was interesting about it is because they were allowing me to do my thing, I wanted to tell them more things because they were so open to it all and so pumped and positive and just excited about the whole thing in a positive way rather than a micromanagement way. So it's interesting how that works. Leave me alone and I'll probably want to talk to you more. Sorry.